Good evening. It's Friday, December 20th. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The 2020 election is in full swing, and presidential candidates from both sides of the aisle are stumping all over the country, vying for the vote. Senator Bernie Sanders is here in San Diego now, campaigning for the Democratic presidential nomination. KPBS reporter Max Rivlin-Nadler is in San Ysidro at the rally. Max.
Maya, I'm here at San Ysidro, where in just over an hour, Senator Bernie Sanders will be giving an immigration rally. So it's going to focus on his immigration policy, which includes things like the expansion and reinstatement of DACA, decriminalizing border crossings, and a temporary moratorium on deportations. His stance on these issues has propelled him in the polls in California over the past month, especially among Latinos. Around 2 hours before the gates opened, there were 100 people in line. One of them was 18-year-old Kate Anchondo. She'd been here since 11:30. This is what she told me about why it was important to come see Bernie here at the border.
Well, as a Latina and my parents are immigrants too, he's the only candidate that has brought forward policies that are, that actually take into account all of the issues and that actually see, immigrants as people and why they're coming here. And I feel like everyone else kind of just uses it as political gain.
I say no. Age does not necessarily denote wisdom. Bernie's wisdom is there. It was there when he was a young man, and it's there with him now.
So the second clip you saw there was V. Mooberry. I had spoken with her. She's 80 years old. I asked her whether age made a difference at all. Obviously, you could hear her answer there was that she doesn't believe that's going to happen, that age actually only leads to wisdom. So here you have a bunch of rabid Bernie Sanders supporters. It's kind of a party atmosphere, and it's going to kick off in just over an hour. As all the presidential candidates now need to stop in California, this is going to become much more popular as we lead to the California primary on March 3rd. In San Ysidro, Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.
Thanks for that report, Max. And the sixth Democratic debate of this election season is in the books, coming on the heels of this week's monumental vote in the House to impeach President Trump. Daryl Forges reports on the showdown in the City of Angels.
Biden era.
The smallest group of Democratic presidential hopefuls sharing the spotlight for the final time this year. 7 candidates gathering in Los Angeles for the PBS NewsHour Politico debate, less than 24 hours after the House voted to impeach President Donald Trump.
We need to restore the integrity of the presidency.
The president is not king in America.
The focus turning from the man they want to beat in November to the candidates themselves, many seeking to clarify their positions and personal character, hoping to make waves heading into the final weeks before the Iowa caucuses.
I'd also be the youngest woman ever inaugurated.
On issue after issue, we've got to break out of the Washington mindset.
Putting the spotlight on the lack of diversity on stage and a nod to the diversity that exists among the candidates continuing their campaigns off stage who did not meet the debate qualification standards.
It's both an honor and disappointment to be the lone candidate of color on the stage tonight. I miss Kamala, I miss Cory, though I think Cory will be back.
The candidates tackling topics like the economy, trade, health care, and climate change.
Get back into the International Climate Change Agreement. I will do that on day one.
We need an economy that works for working families, not just the 1%.
Recent tensions brewing between Senator Elizabeth Warren and Mayor Pete Buttigieg over the high-dollar campaign donations, boiling over onto the stage.
The mayor just recently had a fundraiser that was held in a wine cave.
According to Forbes magazine, I am literally the only person on this stage who's not a millionaire or a billionaire. This is the problem with issuing purity tests you cannot yourself pass.
I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
City leaders deal with these issues all the time, noise and emissions. And now Encinitas is the latest city in San Diego County to implement a gas-powered leaf blower ban to cut down on both. More now from KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman.
Is it irritating? Do people abuse them? Yes, absolutely they do. Do I know people people who blow their property every single day? Yeah. But anybody who's in the trades uses it for the minimum amount of time possible.
Brian Bishop is the owner of Bishop's Tree Service, which operates in North County, including in Encinitas.
We produce a massive amount of sawdust that will kill the grass. And a lot of times we're actually able to blow the majority out of the grass with the leaf blower so that the grass stays healthy.
But Bishop's gas blowers are now banned in Encinitas.
My reaction was really just, really? The thought on an electric leaf blower is it's very limited. Do I have one? Yes, a little one for just little small things. But to blow this kind of air, this is like a $700 blower. The equivalent is going to cost you about $2,200 with 2 batteries.
Encinitas officials say using electric blowers will make the city quieter and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The California Air Resources Board says running a commercial leaf blower for an hour emits pollution comparable to driving a mid-sized car 1,100 miles. But Bishop is worried lithium-ion batteries and electric blowers won't be easy to recycle.
You're bringing in a new toxin.
He went to an Encinitas City Council meeting to voice his concerns.
I question all the new blowers that are coming on the market, the battery ones.
But council members unanimously approved the gas-powered ban.
While I appreciate the points regarding the disposal of the lithium-ion batteries, for me it's all about reduction in greenhouse gases.
Bishop says he doesn't have plans to get rid of his gas blowers anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. No, they're functional tools. Will I maybe try one of the other ones? Maybe, if I absolutely must, but I don't like the idea of the lithium-ion batteries.
Encinitas has a rebate program to help businesses and residents transition away from gas blowers. Officials say nearly 80 people have taken advantage of rebates. Today marks the first day businesses are barred from using the gas blowers. Residents will have to stop by January 20th. People caught in violation of the new law face a $100 fine for a first offense, $200 for a second, and $1,000 for additional violations. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
A group of local high school students in San Diego are trying to tackle underage drinking and drunk driving in a unique way. KPBS reporter Priya Sridhar explains how.
Even for a weekday, it's pretty busy at the Country Wine and Spirits store in Tierra Santa. A steady stream of customers trickle in, and they're greeted by a group of young faces, too young, in fact, to buy the store's products. But that's not why they're here.
We are doing our annual Sticker Shock campaign, partnered with the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, where we are going to place stickers on alcohol products around this liquor store, and just to remind consumers not to drink and drive, provide alcohol to people under 21.
Justin Pendarvis is leading the group of Sarah High School students. He's the president of Elevated, a school club that promotes substance abuse prevention. He says for him, it's a personal passion.
My Uncle Ron was an alcoholic, and he died from cancer that was caused by that. So I just want to help prevent people from making the same mistake.
Research shows that the most common place for underage people to drink alcohol is at someone else's home. The second most likely place is in their own home. That's why San Diego has a social host ordinance that says that any person who provides alcohol to a minor could be cited or arrested and fined up to $1,000 or more.
If you are the host of a party, you have to be aware of where the alcohol is and where the people who are not supposed to be drinking the alcohol are at all times, just to make sure that they don't get into your stash in the closet.
The students are hoping that their sticker campaign will help stop underage drinking and keep drunk drivers off the road this holiday season. Priya Sridhar, KPBS News.
It might be all sunshine and blue skies right now, but we're in for major change. Meteorologist Daji Aswad tells us how the heavy rain is on the way.
Partly cloudy conditions tonight here in San Diego, dropping down into the upper 40s. Now across the region, we're really not talking about a whole bunch of precipitation for Southern California. Borrego Springs a low of 40, cooling down to 37 in Mount Laguna and 39 in Oceanside with clouds passing through. Saturday still mainly dry here and some milder air across Southern California and Arizona, but there will be some wet conditions points to the north, and eventually this wave of energy due to an upper level trough will bring in some disturbed weather for San Diego County, but not for tomorrow. High of 72 in Oceanside. Sun going to be likely for Borrego Springs with a high of 68 and 57 in Mount Laguna, topping off at 71 for San Diego. Sunday night, you are going to continue to see see moisture approach Southern California by Monday. As we transition into Monday, better chance for some rain and even going to be the likelihood for some mountain snow as we head into this upcoming week. So for the early week outlook, we have this disturbance, our trough digging through, and that brings in the rain as well as a chance for some mountain snow across Southern California and some mixed precipitation even into the Four Corners. So for the extended forecast, that sun goes away. Sunday, a high of 68. Temperatures cool down into the lower 60s Monday and Tuesday with occasional rain Monday. And for Christmas Eve, spotty showers. By Wednesday, which is Christmas Day, you're looking at some sun to return with a high at 61. Also a very similar pattern here, feeling warm for Saturday and Sunday with highs in the 70s. Temperatures continue to cool down 10 degrees from Sunday to Monday as that cooler weather and rain approach the region. We'll continue to see wet conditions Tuesday with a high of 60, Wednesday a high of 59, and it's cool out there with partly sunny skies. And out to the mountains, we're in the 50s through this weekend. Partly sunny skies, and that wet weather continues to pick up as we head into late Sunday, continue into your Monday, passing shower Tuesday, and temperature is going to make you want to grab for that jacket or fuzzy blanket as you spend time with your family on the holiday. We'll continue to see partly sunny skies in the desert Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures cool down into lower 60s as that rain continues to enter the region for our early week forecast. And there is additional chances for rain into the late week for our upcoming week. Reporting for KPBS News, I'm your meteorologist, Dajia Swad. Back to you.
Marijuana has become more popular in California since it was legalized a few years ago. But how does it affect your health? In today's installment of our week-long series, High Hopes, California's Pot Experiment, KPBS science and technology reporter Shalina Chatlani analyzes the risks and benefits of marijuana use.
Bass-heavy music thumps through a dimly lit West Hollywood cafe on a Thursday night, while smoke fills the air. Not from cigarettes. Those are banned inside California restaurants. These vapors are from marijuana. Because this is the original cannabis cafe, the nation's first eatery where customers can order marijuana products with their meals. Tonight, Ricardo Baca is sitting on an island overlooking the patio. He's a renowned independent marijuana journalist.
And this is the first time that we've ever had flower and concentrates and edibles being served in this kind of a restaurant-like environment.
California legalized the retail sale of recreational marijuana 2 years ago. The original cannabis cafe opened in October.
I think what this tells us about where we are is that culturally, cannabis has finally arrived in the mainstream.
But humans have been using marijuana since ancient times to treat health problems like insomnia, anxiety, and pain. While we know it can feel good to consume marijuana, there's still not enough science to really know what it does to the human body and brain. That's 50 years after THC was discovered, the molecule in marijuana that gets us high.
That should have signaled a wave of international research, and yet American drug policy is a powerful being, and it prevented research from happening in most parts of the world.
The federal government still classifies marijuana as a Schedule I illicit drug, the same category heroin is in. The label means there's little federal funding for research into the health benefits of marijuana. But over the last 2 decades, states like California have stepped up to fill that research gap.
We did some of the early studies that showed actually that marijuana or constituents of marijuana were helpful in controlling certain kinds of pain.
Igor Grant is the director of UC San Diego's Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research. Grant says the federal government has supported basic science research on marijuana and its negative effects, but not much on the medical side. The center began a few years after California became the first state to legalize medical marijuana. Some funding is federal, but the majority is state money and private donations. Researchers have already completed 7 cannabis clinical trials with humans, and more are underway. And additional funding from the states started coming in after Californians legalized recreational marijuana in 2016. Grant says new research is focused on endocannabinoids. These are natural molecules in the human body that send signals to different cells, regulating processes like pain and appetite. And it turns out certain compounds in marijuana work just like those endocannabinoids. But Grant says that Schedule I federal classification still limits research.
People are often saying, well, California has legalized marijuana. Why can't we, for example, just go to one of the dispensaries, buy a bunch of whatever it is, and do a clinical study? it's absolutely illegal at the federal level. I would lose my license if I did that. So we have this conflict between state and federal law that really inhibits the research.
Grant says there are still a lot of questions, like how does getting high impair drivers? Could marijuana products damage the liver if they're mixed with other substances? And do health benefits change if marijuana is consumed by mouth, rubbed on the skin, or smoked? It's not just scientists that want to find out. There's a growing appetite among consumers to get some answers.
I would probably suggest this one right here.
Chris Simpson is a bud tender at Dispensary Urban Leaf in Mission Valley. During my hour-long conversation with Simpson, about 24 customers shuffled into the dispensary. Some customers ask how they can have fun or chill out. Others ask for help for their health problems.
A lot of customers would call us and see, I have Parkinson's, what can I take for Parkinson's? What can I take for Down syndrome? So a lot of it has to do with your own personal experience and with your own research.
Simpson says he's done his research on marijuana, and it makes him happy to help customers with their medical needs. But he doesn't like being seen as a doctor.
It is a lot of pressure on a public standpoint that we as a whole are what's helping these customers on a daily basis, and we're not licensed like your medical doctors are. We're just going based off of our research, our trial and error, and our clients' trial and error.
Simpson says he hopes scientific research can accelerate because he sees the demand not only for recreational but medical marijuana every day. And he doesn't want his customers' health depending on trial and error. Shalina Chatlani, KPBS News.
Okay. San Diego Christian College has been put on probation and may lose its accreditation. Fiscal mismanagement is to blame. If the problems aren't fixed, students could face serious consequences. iNews Source reporter Jennifer Bowman explains.
Money problems aren't new at San Diego Christian College. Just this past summer, the school had to take out a short-term loan to pay its bills. It's had to revise a faulty financial audit. An accrediting agency has found the college so out of compliance with fiscal and administrative requirements that it put the school on probation. Now, the college has 2 years to fix the issues or lose its accreditation. If that doesn't happen, the college's students could lose access to federal financial aid, something most of them get. San Diego Christian's probation comes nearly 2 years after an iNews Source investigation found $20 million worth of unexplained expenses in the college's public tax filings. School president Kevin Corsini, who was hired this year, says he's committed to addressing the financial problems.
Yeah, we're going to own probation. In fact, I think we should wear it as a badge of, this is an opportunity for us to grow. This is an opportunity for us to become better.
To get there, Corsini says he's working to boost enrollment and increase fundraising. For KPBS, I'm iNews Source investigative reporter Jennifer Bowman.
iNews Source is an independently funded nonprofit partner of KPBS. If you need to do some last-minute Christmas shopping for your kids, here's an idea for you. KPBS education reporter Joe Hong spoke with a county librarian about his top picks for children's books this year.
Every year, Jonathan Hunt reads countless children and young adult books as the head librarian at the San Diego County Office of Education. But as he looks back on the year and the decade, he says books for younger audiences have become more willing to address difficult topics.
Whether you're looking at picture books or novels or graphic novels, we're definitely seeing an increase in edgy content, maybe, or what we might have considered controversial.
One of Hunt's favorite books this year is called 9 Months Before a Baby is Born by Jason Chin and Miranda Paul.
It has this wonderful split screen format where on the right-hand side you get a tiny poem with information about how the baby is developing in the mother's womb. And then on the other page, you see illustrations about how the family is preparing for the birth of the baby. So you can see here they're going to visit the doctor, they're getting the ultrasound. So it's a wonderful combination of science and art and poetry.
Hunt says some books for young readers have tackled topics like immigration. Another one of his favorites this year is called The Faraway Brothers by Lauren Markham, a true story about twin brothers from El Salvador living as undocumented immigrants in the United States.
This is a really important book in helping us, especially when you consider the heated political situation that we're in, to actually put you in the shoes of somebody who's gone through that and their motivation.
His favorite book of the year is Queen of the Sea by Dylan McConis, a graphic novel about a young woman who lives in a convent. But whether it's a wordless picture book or a 400-page novel, Hunt is always looking for books that teach us about our own world or transport us into others.
I'm just looking for something that captures a unique perspective, something that resonates, that creates an emotional response in the reader, whether it's something that's provocative, that makes them think, something that makes them feel deeply.
Joe Hong, KPBS News.
We're here with SDSU marketing lecturer and co-founder of Bottom Line Marketing, Miro Kopik. Hi, Miro.
Hey, Maya.
And we started Black Friday a little bit later this year than usual, and that kind of condensed our shopping time. It's going to be a big weekend for local businesses. Tell us about the outlook.
Well, this Saturday is Super Saturday. It's one of the top 5 busiest shopping days of the year. About 2/3 of consumers are going to be going out shopping or shopping online. Retailers kept discounts moderate at the beginning of the season, 25, 30%. But right now, as retailers are looking to close out their quarter, they're really increasing those discounts. And in fact, 1 in 7 consumers haven't even started shopping yet as of the first week of December. So they're kind of waiting till the last minute. And they're hoping those discounts will be greater, so they're looking for greater discounts.
And a boost for cross-border business this week. San Ysidro point of entry is the busiest port in the Western Hemisphere. How will the expansion help business both on the U.S. and the Mexico side?
A few things. First and foremost, this is a 10-year, $740 million investment that really expands this busiest port of entry. There was also a companion project for the Otay Mesa port of entry. But what this has done is it's opened up 8 new lanes. There are 64 inspection stations and 34 lanes. It's going to make it much easier to go both northbound and southbound for tourists, for workers, for commercial trucks. A lot of companies that were waiting to see what was going to happen with the U.S. Mexico-Canada agreement now are actually starting to invest in operations on both sides of the border. So hopefully we'll see even greater commerce in 2020.
And Congress passed a budget before leaving D.C. this week, late Monday night, and it doesn't include more incentives for things like solar and electric vehicles. How is that going to affect Southern California, where the priority is renewable energy?
Well, the state has some very aggressive standards set. They want to see 5 million electric vehicles by 2030. Right now, there's only 650,000. And so, for example, there were 3 incentives that were kind of ignored by Congress. The first one is just solar on rooftops at homes or in businesses. There's a step down this coming year. So right now you get a 30% federal tax credit with your solar purchase through the end of this year. Next year it drops to 26%. The year after that to 22%. And then afterward it just stops. So if you're going to get solar on your house, you got to do it, and you should do it very quickly. The other part was there was no extension in the cap on electric vehicles. So a manufacturer gets capped at 200,000 electric or plug-in vehicles. Once they exceed that, the tax credits decline for the following year, and then they expire altogether. So, for example, a company like Tesla crossed that threshold last year. Right now, the tax credits are going to be about a quarter of the tax credits that you can have, of about $7,500 per car. It's only $2,000 per car. And after the first of the year, if you buy a Tesla, you're not going to get a tax credit. You could buy another hybrid vehicle or an electric vehicle and get a tax credit. So the auto manufacturers were pushing to increase that cap from 200,000 vehicles to 600,000 vehicles, and that might again happen in 2020. And the third thing is storage. Storage is going to be one of those most important things to help us be energy self-sufficient. It'll help harness that wind and solar power in particular, so when the sun is not shining at night, we can store that energy and use it in the evening and use it inexpensively. That industry was looking for kind of a tax regime. What would the tax credits be? It was just ignored by Congress, and now the only way you can get a credit for storage is if you pair it with solar. So this year is going to be a little bit lean in the solar space, even though we have very aggressive goals as a state.
So if you're thinking about doing it, do it soon.
Do it now.
Great. Thank you so much, Miro Kopik from SDSU and Bottom Line Marketing.
Thank you, Maya.
And And Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has opened in theaters, but KPBS film critic Beth Accomando wants to remind people that there is more than Star Wars to choose from this weekend in cinemas.
If you've been waiting with great hope and more than a little trepidation for The Rise of Skywalker, then let me just say you can breathe a sigh of relief. JJ does not pull a Jar Jar on us. J.J. Abrams returns to direct The Rise of Skywalker, and as with his The Force Awakens, he serves up a safe but entertaining formula. He delivers a lot of fan service, some well done, and some that just feels calculated. He gives us a film that brings the 40-plus years of cinematic storytelling to a mostly fun and sometimes even bittersweetly emotional conclusion.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir, at my friends.
But the problem is that Abrams doesn't really take risks. He loves big action scenes and has plenty of callbacks to the original films. But his film doesn't generate the excitement I feel every time I watch The Empire Strikes Back, or more recently, Rogue One. I'd like to sound more excited, but honestly, when I left the theater, I just felt happily relieved. I'm seeing the film again so I can process it more fully. If you grew up with the Skywalker saga, you need to see it come to an end. For me, going to see a Terrence Malick film is a religious experience. It's like going to church. His films are transcendent cinematic poems that sweep me up in an emotional swell and uplift my soul. His new film, A Hidden Life, looks to an Austrian man during World War II who refuses to sign an oath of loyalty to Hitler.
Father, they call me up a cancer. We're killing innocent people.
Malick's films don't have conventional plots. Instead, they build a nonlinear narrative from just a core idea. A Hidden Life is a breathtaking film about quiet resistance and standing up for what you believe in. I can't think of a better gift to unwrap during the holidays than this. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
You can find more stories at kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great evening.